Well, we got more and more progress being made out there on the Appalachian Trail. Trail crews are out there punching their way through. So, volunteer maintainers. We've also got ATC paid sawyers through the Appalachian Trail Conservancy Resiliency Fund. We've got National Forest Service folks coming out there, not only local, but from all over the place. So, things are going great out there, and it is looking up for the 2025 NOBO season and just hiking season in general. So we also got some 2025 folks who are going to be checking in with us, and we got a couple 2024. So let's go ahead and dive right in. So we got Cocky and Crackerjack. They have sent in their prep hike video, and they want to introduce themselves. So go ahead and take it away, folks.
Okay, good morning, Ramdino. You have Cocky and Crackerjack
sorry.
here at the end of our 3-night, 4-day trip on the Foothills Trail. We started at Bad Creek Trailhead and walked west to Oconee State Park. We have finished up. As you can see, we have a beautiful area here. We will say that
there's a Oconee State Park sign.
And the trail is well clear. Hats off to all the trail maintainers. Crackerjack and Cocky had a good pre-shakedown hike for the end of day's trail. So hopefully between now and the end of day's trail, the east side of the trail will be wide open. Looking forward to that. Mike or Crackerjack?
Crackerjack, I'm here and I'm thrilled. It's been a good few days. Nice and cool this morning. We got up and had a little coffee and hit the road and finished 4 miles today and heading back home.
Yes, we did a total of 33 and change.
Right.
Cocky and Crackerjack out.
And not to be outdone, Penny also sent in her intro. Penny, talk to us.
Hey, Ramdino. Enjoy your updates. Thank you so much for the Sunday updates. I watch them every Sunday. My name is Penny. I am going to start a 2025 NOBO attempt through hike of the AT, and keep up with the updates because that's really helping me plan my hike. And I can't wait to get out there. My YouTube channel is Grandma Outdoor 56, and I hope to meet you someday, and very excited to get out there on trail. And I want to thank all of the trail maintainers and all of those people that are so helpful at repairing and restoring the trail. I can't wait to get out there and thank some of these people in person. Again, I'm headed out in late March of 2025, and my YouTube channel is Grandma Outdoors 56.
And then Jukebox, he checks in from his 2024/2024 hike out there. Jukebox, let's hear from you.
Hey, Ramdino. Jukebox here from Jim and Ruby Hike YouTube channel. Having a great time on the trail here. I'm in between Snickers and Key Gap going south. Based on the logs, it looks like we've got some Sobos ahead of me by a few days. They'll probably keep going. Beautiful weather, wonderful nights, not too cold. Unfortunately, it's going to rain pretty much all day Thanksgiving, and then the cold temps are going to come in. So I'm going to take a couple days off trail to enjoy the holidays with a fellow hiker that I met in 2022 who lives in the area. Invited me for Thanksgiving, and then go get back on trail in the cold. Thanks for everything you do, and we'll check in with you again.
And then Hot Sloth.
Hey Ramdino, it's a Hot Sloth here, rolling into North Carolina. I'm going slow because I got some hip bursitis in my left hip. Well, it wouldn't be hip bursitis in my left knee, so I'll explain that. But anyway, Georgia was great. Yeah, I'm heading out. I'm going low and slow miles, but I'm still making that forward progress. I'll be in Hot Springs sometime. So hopefully, hopefully they still need help. I'm sure they do. They're probably gonna need help for a long time, if not hot springs somewhere else. But I could use the volunteer time just to take some time off my hip. So hope everything's well. Haven't been able to watch any videos of yours and see what info you got going out there, but yeah, just trying to let you know I'm still rolling, Ramdino. Hot sloth out.
He is on his Bama to Baxter tour, and now he is on the AT. So look forward to hearing from you again, Hot Sloth, and your updates. 2025 hikers, please go and sign up on my support list if you're not already there, so folks can follow along on your hike and can keep you spurred along with comments and other things as they go. So that's the way they're going to get in touch with you and find you. And then you folks out there in the hiker community, you can go down to the link below where you'll find a link to that list. And of course, 2025 hikers, the link to sign up for that list is also down below. So put yourself on that list. We can't wait to see how things are going. I can't wait to get your updates each week so I can report to folks out there. And then you Sobo hikers that are still out there for 24 and 25, report in and let us know how things are going. So most trail crews, of course, were off over the Thanksgiving holidays. However, during the week, the Tennessee Eastman Hiking and Canoe Club did work a couple days right before Thanksgiving. Of course, they've been out there this week as well, so we appreciate everything they're doing. It is looking great for them. Of course, if you saw my video where I was out there looking at the damage and looking at what they had done and accomplished out there, and of course, I was just on a short 4-mile hike out there, and that was a 4-mile out and back. So, down to from Walnut Mountain Road trailhead there where the AT crosses over it right up above Roan Mountain, down to the Mountaineer Falls shelter and also Mountaineer Falls. So very short section. They have been doing tons of work down there. I think somewhere around 30 miles is what they've done, but they're getting ready to finish punching through down there, just like a few tenths, I believe, from getting through to the next trailhead from Mountaineer Falls. So looking forward to seeing when they get through to that and having that section complete and hikeable. So here's a map that got provided to me from the Cherokee National Forest, and this shows what has been cut in those areas and what has been cleared. And so cleared and hikeable are really two different things. So here is what is considered hikeable. So this is what's going to be passable / hikeable for in the foreseeable future. What's going to happen is once they get punched through and get a continuous footpath, then they will come back through and clean up some of this and get some of this where it's a little wider going through there. This section right here, you can see you're only going to get one hiker through this area. So you're not going to be able to pass somebody. You're just going to have to share the treadway when you go through there. So, but it's going to get better and better, and looking forward to just getting punched through, period. And then we'll worry about the cleanup. So my feeling is that once they punch through, there's a lot of trail repairs got to be done. You got a lot of root balls that have left a pit that they're in the trail, and some of those you can walk around immediately, but because they're right next to it, you've got a big gaping hole there next to you that's going to wash, with rains and everything. So they're going to have to fill those in. They have a method for filling those in, and typically that's throwing rocks and logs in there first and then getting dirt out of the root ball itself. So, and some of that is being done as they go along, depending on the size of the work crew that they have. So you've got sawyers and swampers who are carrying the material, or rather carrying the tools and the gas cans and the saws and the blades for the sawyers. And then you've got folks out there that when they get, when they're not needed right there immediately, keeping the sawyer safe and pulling debris out of the way, then they are fixing, the trail as they go. The Southern Appalachian Wilderness Stewards Institute, so they have been out there cutting. Of course, they typically cut in wilderness areas, and in wilderness areas, the rules are that you can only use a crosscut saw or hatches or axes. You can't use a chainsaw. And so there from Wilbur Dam Road up to Vanderbilt Shelter, there was like 55 trees that were down, And in one day, I think they cut about 11 of those trees. So you can imagine how long it's going to take for them to get through. And Vanderbilter Shelter is not near a trailhead. They've got to get all the way, I believe, up to Shady Valley. So there's a lot more trees than 55 down in that section there. So probably what I've heard out there is that eventually they'll probably be given a date to get through, and at that point they may come in, the National Forest Service, and with chainsaws and try to help them and finish them up. That's not their fault by any means. Right now, that mandate is not there to allow chainsaws in, but it probably will happen before it's all said and done, just because of the magnitude of the damage that's in there. So they've got about 11 miles to cut in through there. So if you think about it, I don't even know that they got a mile cutting down those 12 trees of the 55 between Wilbur Dam Road and the shelter. But for instance, the Tennessee Eastman Club there, they crew cut 1.6 miles with 30 people and with 250 man hours going through there, and they're using chainsaws. So you can imagine going 11 miles of just crosscut saws, how much longer that's going to take. Do have some positive news there for the trail north of Damascus. So Caitlin with the ATC's the information person there, and she's been giving me information whenever I've asked, and she wanted to make a correction there in that the trail, I had said before, and I was basing this on information she gave me, and I don't know if I just misunderstood her, or maybe she miscommunicated, but it doesn't matter. She's been doing a great job, and I appreciate everything she's doing there. But it was my understanding there was on the treadway on the Creeper Trail north of Damascus, there was 3 trestles that were shared by the AT and the Creeper Trail. And Caitlin has come back and corrected that, and there's only one trestle that shares the treadway, and it was not affected. So that's a giant trestle there. I've walked that trestle and that treadway before several times, matter of fact, but at least when I came through that section. And so that has that trestle remains, and so but the treadway on the Creeper does not necessarily remain. So there are washouts where it's 6 feet deep, maybe 10 feet deep through there. I saw on another video that was just a Creeper video, didn't have anything to do with the AT, but I harvested some of that, and it's amazing how much the Creeper washed out through there. So that treadway is going to be an issue. Right now, the ATC has not put in place any detours, and there's no information, no planning that they've done so far, according to Caitlin. I'm sure they're working on that, maybe, but right now she says there's nothing that they've put together for that. So we'll see what's going on with that. Did talk to Ann with the Mount Rogers Appalachian Trail Club, and she indicated that Elk Garden, they're starting at Elk Garden. Everything is now cut and passable all the way to the Tennessee Virginia line. So that is south of Damascus. So that means everything's cut from Elk Garden, which is in the Mount Rogers National Recreation Area, all the way to the south of Damascus in the state line there. So that is really great news, because prior to that, Elk Garden was kind of the jumping off place for any Sobo coming down from Virginia. Virginia's been cleared, but they still had to stop and get off trail there at Elk Garden. Now, right now, that doesn't mean that Mount Rogers Appalachian Trail Club wants you hiking from Elk Garden through Damascus. Again, the Creeper Trail's between Elk Garden and Damascus, but then they've also still got repairs to do. So while it may be cut and passable, it doesn't mean that they want you out there. And in fact, they probably don't want you out there while they're working on the trail. Of course, conditions are right now that it is cold up there. Ann said it was 15 degrees one day up there that they were working. So that's pretty miserable conditions. And it snows up there, as higher altitudes. And so they're not going to be able to work in the snow more than likely, particularly the deep snow. So coming up on winter, we're going to start seeing a little less distances cleared, a little less progress made, particularly on filling in holes and things of that nature. And also, continuing with the good news and positivity, Pisgah's now allowed trail crews to get in there on the AT and cut single trees. So you can't, you can't, they're not allowing them to cut something that's all up in a bind, multiple trees on top of each other, something that's complicated, something that could possibly injure only single trees. Well, as Joe said in our talk, that I've already dropped one of those, part of that, actually two of them, and I'll leave a link to that here at the end of this video. He said that it's all bound up, all complicated stuff. So there are some sections that are easy, a couple easy cuts here and there, but by and large, most of it, it's just all bound up. So trail crews are out there busting it for us out there, and want to give them a huge shout out and a huge thank you for doing that. Some other news. So you got year-end giving coming up. And right now there's a couple people or a couple entities that I want to mention that would be great places for you to give if you're wanting to get it on your taxes for 2024. So to begin with, Fresh Ground and Leapfrog Cafe. So Fresh Ground is all about hikers. So he's specifically for hikers, not the treadway, not so much towns or hostels. It's just specifically for feeding hikers out there on the trail. So he goes out there and lives on the trail in his van and goes to trailheads and feed hikers. So he is a 501c3. So that's a great place to do. If you want to just help the hikers, that is a great place to give some year-end giving. And you can go to his Facebook page, and there are all the ways that you can give to Fresh Ground and the Leapfrog Cafe. Of course, you've also got the trail clubs, the Tennessee Eastman Hiking and Canoeing Club. You can give to them, and they'll use it to purchase saws and chains and gas and oil for the saws and tools and things like that, and personal protection gear for volunteers that are coming in. So that's a great place to live, to give. I'll leave that link down below. You also have other trail clubs that I'm sure are just as good. So you got the CMC, Carolina Mountain Club, and the Mount Rogers Appalachian Trail Club. But the Tennessee Eastman Club, they had more damage than anybody else. So they could probably use a little more help, a little more folks giving than the other trail clubs. Not saying the other trail clubs aren't worthy or anything, but they probably could use a little more. And also this week, coming up, the Tennessee Eastman Club should have gotten some sawyers from the ATC Resiliency Fund. So haven't had a chance to check with Joe, aka Cat Herder, to see if he got those sawyers or not, but I'll check with him later this week and let you know for the upcoming weekend update. Couple things going on with some hostels. So Uncle Johnny's has been torn down. So the shop out front and the main bunkhouse, all that's been torn down. They had some smaller bunkhouses in the back. They were immediately turned down with the flood, and now the major has been turned down. So the foundation could not be saved, and hence the whole thing couldn't be saved. And so I think really all that remains is, the shed out back where people hang their hammocks and the bathhouse. So everything else is pretty much gone. And my understanding is they're going to start rebuilding immediately, and they're trying their best to be ready for the 2025's season. So, people leaving in January. Most people don't leave till February and March, and it takes typically 6 weeks to get up there to Irwin, a month to 6 weeks. So we'll see how that coincides when they get ready, but that is going to be a huge undertaking to be ready for the Nobo bubble when it comes through there. We also stopped by while I was up there looking at the trail to a couple other hostels. So I stopped by Mountain Harbor. Here's what's going on at Mountain Harbor. All right, and here at Mountain Harbor, so they lost their hostel. So the bed and breakfast is still open. And the kitchen is going to be open, but it's questionable if the hostel will be open. So this whole stream right here wiped out their hostel. We'll look at that in just a minute. And they were in the process of building that new stage when the river came through here and took everything. So this is the hostel. I know Alda has been working here to help them out. But he says all of this has to come down. So
that's quite an undertaking for the entire barn to come down. I know Alda took off this section right here, but yeah, the whole foundation's gone. A lot like Uncle Johnny's. So anyway, you hate to see it. They are not sure if they're going to be able to come back for 2025 NOBO. As far as the hostel, kitchen will be open, bed and breakfast will be open. It's up there on the house, but not sure about the hostel. So he's waiting on the federal government. You see all this stuff got washed in here and wiped it out, and waiting on the federal government to come through with some small business loans and stuff like that. And yeah, I hate telling him, but I don't care who's in office. If he's waiting on that, good luck. All right, so that's it for the hostel portions of the of our update this week.
And I stopped by the station at 19E where they had their parking lot wrecked, but they did not have the damage to the hostel like Mountain Harbor did, where they pretty much lost the whole hostel. But they did lose their parking lot at the station at 19E. So the hostel wasn't damaged. Parking lot was. Got to have a parking lot if you're going to run a business. So it's considerably smaller now, but here's what was going on up there.
So it looks like that station at 19E, they are starting the recovery process, bringing in fill here where their parking lot was wiped out. So it looks like they're working on it. So they lost that entrance, and I guess their parking lot continued over to here somewhere. But anyway, they've got a ways to go. That is a tremendous amount of rock and fill and pipe and everything has got to go in. But they're working on recovering, and they do have part of their parking lot left. Not a lot, so they couldn't get too many more cars in here. Anyway, that's the status there on 19E, station at 19E.
Again, I want to give a big shout out to Joe Morris / Cat Herder with the Tennessee Eastman Hiking and Canoeing Club for coming and chatting with me. I'll finish up loading those for you in the next little bit. One of the things about Joe, we have some history that I didn't know before I invited him to come on the channel, and I think you should know about it because it shows what a great guy Joe is. So you'll recall from maybe a year or a year and a half ago when they tore down the Over Mountain Shelter, the barn there. And I dropped a video on that. I was not happy. Neither were a lot of other people happy about that. That was an iconic thing on the trail. I've stayed there with my son before, and it's just a gorgeous, gorgeous view sitting on the platforms on the back there, waking up in the morning, looking down the valley at that sunrise. And I hated that they tore that thing down, but I understand it was in bad shape. What was really aggravating for me was that I had people coming to me that were wanting to give to try to salvage it, but it wasn't, and there's no point in going back on that. But my point in telling you all that was because that was a less than glamorous video that I did, painting, of course, the ATC and the National Forest Service, but also Joe's club, the Tennessee Eastman Hiking and Canoeing Club. And, you know, he could have really held that against me, and he didn't. And he came on the channel, and we developed a great friendship from it. And I greatly appreciate him being so big like that and just being a great guy. And, you know, I guess that's just part of being a trail maintainer, is just being a great person like that. So, Joe, appreciate that from the bottom of my heart. You're not holding that against me. And thanks for what y'all and the clubs are doing out there. So, the Foothills Trail, the end of days hike, Ramdino's end of days hike that's coming up here December 27th. And it'll go for 5 days, 5-ish days out there, maybe another extra day or so. But basically, it looks like it is going to turn into a yo-yo. So I don't think they're going to have the entirety of the Foothills Trail ready, which is about 72 miles to through hike it all the way from Maconey State Park to Table Rock State Park. Don't think they're going to have that ready. That's kind of the deal with the end of days hike, but go and check out that Facebook group, join that, and you'll get more updates. like I said, I've got several more videos coming up with Joe, the trail maintainer. So they'll be a little dated. So the specific information that comes across there that he gives out is going to be a little dated because it happened like 2 weeks ago. But it's still very relevant to watch those because it gives you from the mindset of a trail maintainer out there. So it's still very applicable. And then I've also got a couple videos coming up where I interviewed Bright Eyes, who was the mom of Sadie, the lost hiker dog. And of course, if you don't know the story of that, then you can, I put up 3 videos previously about that. And then you can go and look for those. And I'll leave a link to them down below for that. And then I'll be dropping 3 more about the conclusion of the search for Sadie with her interview with that. So looking forward to sharing that with you. I think you'll enjoy that, and it'll kind of give you a new perspective on the search for Sadie and, where Bright Eyes is now and where all of us that were involved in that. So a ton of good content coming to you out from me, and looking forward to sharing that with you. Don't forget to go check these out here with my chat with Joe Morris, and go check that out, and links down below to go check out my previous discussion that I had with Bright Eyes while the search was going on. That's all I got this week. As always, appreciate you, and we'll see you out there.